Hello, everybody. Welcome to our recorded stand-up meeting for our final sprint. We're just going to be talking about what we have done so far together, and we can start the discussion. So my name is Farham Kademi.
Hi, I'm Clive Lewis.
I am Sharon.
Dylan.
Hi, I'm Dhruv Joshi.
Hi, I'm Ayla.
Hi, I'm Ranmay.
Okay, so with that, we can quickly begin by discussing just very quickly on what you guys did so far and what is left on your section. So we can start with Clive.
Yeah, so I was working on the end game functionality. I was struggling a bit with the roll dice getting triggered at the end because there is a backend change interchange between the front end and the back end. So I limited the roll dice functionality to not happen in the last two iterations so that the end game functionality works properly. And now the end game does throw a proper conclusive statement every time the game ends. With no any kind of errors that at least I've come across. So I'm only awaiting maybe one other our test users to test it, and once they approve it, I'm probably going to put it into completed tomorrow itself.
Okay.
That's the update from me.
So you're pretty much done. You just need to be testing it by somebody else.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll probably do that by tonight then.
Mhm.
Who is next? Dylan?
Yeah, so I've updated all the APIs, play turn, dice roll, generate narration, process narration to handle multiplayers. It takes new rules to do that. I think adding it here and there, I found more bugs as that's the difference from last stand-up. And I fixed those bugs. Initially, I had to remove dice roll, but now I think everything has been put back together. The UI has been updated to handle multiple, like if player one is going, player one inputs, etc., etc., and also to input multiple characters when you start a game. Yeah, that is all.
Okay. Who was next? I think Sharon.
Yeah, I've been working with Dylan on the multiplayer thing, and we'll work on resolving the bugs.
Okay. Um, then who was next? I think Drew, right? Drew.
Yeah, so the voice functionalities like text to speech and speech to text both have been implemented. I have tested it on my local machine, pushed the code to the branches, and currently Ayla and Runmai are downloading it and testing it on their site just to ensure everything is working as expected.
Okay. Ayla, what do you have?
Yeah. So, as Dhruv said, after all the implementation for the text to speech and speech to text are done, while running it, I've just like dealt with some difficulties for installation of the Meet recorder, but I think it's only on my device. So after resolving this, I think that everything else is finalized and is done.
Okay. And lastly, oh wait, I'm the last one, but Moonmay.
Like Dhruv said, we're working on the text to speech and speech to text. So I'm just going to download it and check for any bugs or any difficulties which will come up and work on that.
Okay. And lastly, me. So I worked with Dylan to kind of finish some of the multiplayer sections. So I added the number of players that could start in the game. I also updated the image upload for NPC. So you can upload the NPC images from the front end, but according to Dylan, we'll have to delete that because that could cause a lot of problems. So I'm going to be working on that by tonight. And I think tomorrow is the code freeze. So please try your best to finish everything by tonight. And tomorrow there will be some hours throughout the day we can work on the code, but it should be mostly spent on merging the code at that time. So please try your best to finish everything by tonight. And anybody has any concerns, any questions?
I would like to ask someone else from the team to also download the speech to text branch and try to run it on their local machine. because the issues, if you remember, Faram and Dylan, we sat together for an issue of packages not being installed correctly. We had to use npm force to move forward with that.
Yeah.
So I guess in the recent branches that issue has been solved, right? But
Depends on what some of the installs is. Because for example, right now I had to do one of the npm installs that I did need to like do a legacy install kind of thing.
Mhm.
So yeah, some stuff I guess is there, but that we'll figure that part out when we're
See, I
testing.
mean, I guess instead of using legacy npm force, wouldn't that be a better option to go for? Because I remember we tried the npm legacy while we three were sitting together, and yet it was throwing an error. But when we went for npm force, because I guess Ayla is facing the same issue right now while testing my branch. So I would just ask like if someone else could download it and try it on
Sure.
their side as well. So that would just confirm whether the fault lies on my end or is it in the package lock or somewhere else. I don't.
Okay. Anybody has anything to say?
I'm good.
Okay. So one thing that I do want to mention for the final presentation is a requirement that is going to be ongoing for the future semesters too. What we're going to have to do is like we did it in the previous presentation where we have to say like make a page on who did what, but it's going to be more specific than just saying we all worked on this user story or that. It's going to be more like what you did specifically within the user story and which one is yours. So this way it's more transparent on who did what throughout the whole sprint. Sounds good? This is going
So
to be an overall one. So not only for this sprint, it's going to be technically at the end, we're going to be like one slide it's going to talk about overall sprint from sprint 0 to sprint 3, what everybody did kind of. So it's not going to be like I worked on this user story only. It's going to be what did you do in that user story?
just to clarify, are we going to have like every story on that slide and like
No, that's my
yeah,
goal. So
yeah,
if we put every user story, that's just going to be redundant.
yeah.
So you're just going to talk about what you implemented within those user stories. So it's like you're not going to say like I added the routes for specific things. You're just gonna talk in a general way.
Mm-hmm.
If you like, you're gonna know what you're gonna have to mention in that slide when you reach that stage. Because
So generalized overview.
yeah, generalized overview on what you did doesn't have to
Okay,
be.
so not really just subtasks in itself, just a generalized overview of what you have done throughout the all the three sprints.
Yeah, but it
Okay.
has to be somewhat specific in terms of like, let's say you can't say like right now we have assigned members from the multiplayer, right? We have like 4 or 5 people on it, but reality only me and Dylan worked on it, and Sharon too. So
Mm-hmm.
as in, we will have to kind of like show that part of the like, okay, we assigned the works accordingly, but this was taken by this person, so it's your credit is given where it's due, technically.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm
Okay.
trying to do.
Yeah, there's no issue with that. It's just I'm just trying to visualize what the slide looks like so that everyone can put their portions correctly.
Right. That's good.
Yeah.
That's the only idea that I'm trying to get.
So that part, we will discuss that, how we're going to be doing that. For
Mm-hmm.
now, just focus on the code freeze that is tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So implement what you can do, put whatever you worked on, what you're going to be working on right now into the code.
Mm-hmm.
And then when that's done, we'll have about 6 days or so to kind of work on the presentation. And with
Mm-hmm.
that, we can plan on how we're going to present that page.
I'm
You also
I'm
have to do the document, right? The
Yeah, that's
deployment
what I was just going to
document.
say. Yeah,
What about
we
it?
have a lot of documentation to do,
Yeah.
right? Before.
Technically, the documentation that we have, the technical paper is almost done from the
Mm-hmm.
last sprint.
The deployment manual,
Yeah,
user.
there's the deployment manual and there's the individual report.
Yeah. And
The
the
individual report is individual work, so that's all
Mm-hmm.
on your guys' part. But the deployment manual is the part that we all have to do together. So
okay.
technically, there's only one documentation left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. With
Sounds
that,
good.
we'll end the stand-up.
Okay, so everybody good?
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
sounds good.
Okay. So with that, we can conclude today's stand up. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.